Hey, it's Samantha. I'm here to do another interview. Today it will be a little different than what I usually do. Usually I interview rappers. However, today I will be interviewing one of my friends, and they have a very interesting story that we would like to share with you guys. So, Alex, why don't you introduce yourself and say your age and tell us where you're from?
Hey everyone. Just as Sam mentioned, my name's Alex. I'm 34 and I live in the Cleveland area. Me and Sam have been friends for maybe 10 years, maybe a little bit longer. So when the opportunity came about to do kind of a little bit of a sit-down interview, I thought it was a great way to kind of explain my story, my recent procedure I had done, maybe help people out that are going through something similar. That's why I'm here.
So, to start with, can you tell us about your surgery that you recently had?
Yeah, on the 23rd of January, I had a liver transplant, which was a long time coming. I've been sick for about, well, I was sick for about 5 years before I had the transplant. I guess the first symptom I really noticed was itching. I got so itchy at points where I would just scratch and scratch and scratch, and I would get no relief. I remember not knowing what was causing it. My girlfriend at the time, when this started, I remember we were at her parents' lake house, and when we came home from that vacation, I just remember having an itching attack, and I didn't know if it was the sand or if I was allergic to something or what the issue was. I just remember I could not get any relief. Fast forward a few years, and the other symptom that I developed was jaundice, which is yellowing of the skin and the eyes. So basically, I went from the pale me that I normally am to a Simpsons character. And obviously, you don't feel the best about yourself when you're walking around looking like a Simpsons character. So I needed a change, definitely.
What was it like before your surgery versus now? Like, what was the state of your body, state of your mind, the state of your health?
Yeah, I think the biggest misconception about organ transplants, or in my case, a liver transplant, is that you're always in pain. That's not the case. It's really person by person, or severity, or the organ. I was lucky enough where I had this transplant where I didn't get so bad where I was on my deathbed or anything like that. And my sister was actually my donor, but I'll get into that a little bit more.
Did you truly believe that you would receive a transplant, or were there moments of doubt? Can you tell us about the moment where your sister told you that she was willing to give you her liver? And can you tell us about what that was like when she told you?
To be honest, no, I didn't really think I would end up having a transplant. That kind of comes back to where my sister comes into play. I had 2 dry runs. What a dry run is when they find an organ for you, but it ends up not being a good match, or they find out somewhere in the process that there's an issue with it, or it's just not a good fit for you. So in that case, what they do is they basically just send you back home and keep you on the waiting list. So that went on for years. I'm just waiting and waiting and waiting, and nothing's happening. I'm just slowly getting more sick. So my 2 cousins actually tested. They went through the testing process to try to help me and be a donor for me. But unfortunately, there were just some things that it wasn't compatible. So that left it up to my sister, who also wanted to donate. She ended up going through the testing process. It was very lengthy and thorough, but she ended up actually being approved. So at that point, it was a relief, because since she was approved, I had a set date and I knew exactly when this transplant was going to happen. So I didn't have to worry about getting so sick I would lose my job or something like that. So my sister stepping up really, it saved my life, to be honest.
What was the surgery like, and what was it like to see your sister afterwards, after you saw that she recovered and she saw that you recovered? What was that moment like for you?
I don't remember much of the actual day to day after my surgery, because I was out, you know, I was drugged up. The first thing I said when I woke up was, "How is Anna?" Anna's my sister, obviously, the one that gave me the donor or the liver. But I don't remember much of anything. I don't remember seeing her after the surgery. They kind of took her to her room. They took me to my own separate room, which was in a different wing of the hospital. But as far as how it felt, I mean, I was in ICU for a few days. I was fine when I was in ICU because I was on all kinds of crazy stuff, let me tell you. But after that, it was a rough probably 3 weeks where I was miserable, and I didn't think I was going to bounce back from it. I mean, 2 weeks in and I felt like I was going backwards in the healing process. I bitched about it constantly on Facebook. I was not in a good place mentally or physically.
Can you talk a little bit about the pain and about the struggles that you've gone through since your surgery?
Thankfully, I don't have too much pain anymore. The surgery was about 2.5 months ago. So really what I deal with nowadays is like a tightness where my liver is. Anytime I stretch, move certain ways, I feel a very tightness to that spot. It does ache sometimes, just very minor, but aside from that, I'm just living life. I'm thankful for this new chapter of my life, and I'm thankful that I have the mental clarity needed to go about my life. I mean, this liver transplant completely changed me from my physical being to, like I said earlier, just my whole mindset, how I think, how I go my day to day. It was a life changer.
What are some differences that you've noticed so far?
Yes, the biggest difference, and I talk about this constantly because I'm so pumped, is my eyes. My eyes are finally white, like pearly white, and my skin. I will take pale over yellow any day. But yeah, those are really the biggest differences as far as that goes. And the itchiness. I have no itchiness anymore. That's a big one.
So I'm pretty sure I already know the answer to this, but who is your favorite musician? And what are your favorite song of theirs, and when did you first hear them?
So my favorite artist or musician is Mac Miller. Surprise, surprise. Um, that's a head scratcher for a lot of people. A lot of people will be like, "That's a really random person. Like, why Mac Miller?" It's really about how you relate to somebody with music. To each their own, I guess. I can't really explain it. It's just he's a very relatable musician to me, more so than other people, I guess. But as far as my favorite groups, I'll keep it to hip hop. Bone Thugs, one of my favorites. Outkast, and then a group nobody's probably heard of called Farside. They're an early 90s West Coast hip hop group. Yeah, those would probably be some of my favorites. As far as a song, going back to Mac Miller, that's tough. I like his newer stuff. Newer as in newer before he passed, obviously. I'm not a big fan of like his high school like bubblegum rap type stuff. But yeah.
What other kind of music do you like? And what kind of instrument do you like to play?
A lot of people also assume that because I post a lot of hip hop, I only listen to hip hop, and that is far from the truth. Music to me is really dependent on my mood. One week you'll catch me listening to one thing, the next week I'll be listening to something completely different. So, I mean, that's kind of a loaded question. I like anything really from Fleetwood Mac, The Police. I can listen to anything like that. All the way to Deftones, Korn. I'm all over the place, like I've said. Most of the stuff I listen to is older, from like the 90s, some 2000s, but yeah, I just stick to that lane. As far as instruments, I don't really play an instrument. I have a drum set, which is collecting dust, and I took piano lessons when I was like 7 for like a month maybe, and I thought it was for girls, so I quit, but man, do I regret that. How dope would it be to play the piano at like 34 years old? Just
Do you have any girlfriends? What happened to your last relationship? Do you plan on having marriage and kids in the future, or a partnership, or what's your plan?
I like how you say girlfriends as in plural, like there's more than one, if even one. No, I am single at the moment. My last relationship. You really want to know about my last relationship? I don't think you do. I don't think I want to go down that rabbit hole again. Well, aren't these getting personal? I think just like anybody, obviously you want to start a family at some point. I mean, most people, obviously not everybody, but that's the ultimate goal. So yes, I would say I would like to start a family and all that good stuff, but I'm also not holding my breath. I mean, I'm a very simple guy, so I would be completely fine if that didn't happen either. So it's just what's destined to happen, I guess.
Can you tell me more about your family, like your parents and maybe more siblings, and what has this experience for them been like, from when you were sick to the surgeries to the recoveries? Do you guys talk about it a lot, and what's that been like?
I have 2 sisters. I have a younger sister and an older sister. Anna is my younger sister, the one who donated a piece of her liver, and Ariana is my older sister. everybody was just relieved as far as the surgery goes, especially my mom. My mom was at the hospital almost every single day for those 2 weeks that I was there after my transplant. So I know it weighed heavily on my mom's mind, not just my own, but for years. So when I finally got this surgery, it was a lot of weight off her shoulder, everybody's shoulder.
Were you and your sister close growing up?
I've never been super close with my sisters. Obviously, we were close living together, but I mean, it kind of changed a bit the older we got. We fought a lot when we were younger, not so much into adult years. Well, not at all, really. But no, I can't say we were super close. We're closer now, though, since everything, obviously, but yeah.
What are some of your other hobbies?
I like exploring new places. I drive around a lot, take a lot of pictures of cool places. That's pretty much the only hobby lately that I've been into, just with everything going on health-wise. I don't know. I kind of want to do tutorial videos of some sort. I did that when I bought my house, kind of some maintenance videos and stuff like that. So I don't know. I'm kind of open to new hobbies. I'm kind of just testing the waters. I've been bored, I'll tell you that much. So something to catch my interest would be nice.
Now that you've had the surgery and you're recovering, what are some of your goals in the near future?
A big goal of mine is really to remain healthy and just continue healing without any hiccups. They say the first 6 months after a liver transplant is the most crucial time to really be monitoring everything you do and to be as careful as possible, because within those first 6 months are when issues are most common, rejection, things like that. So that's really what I'm focused on at the moment.
Can you tell me about your pets and what's the funniest thing that they do?
I have 2 pets, 2 cats, Mac and Xena. Mac is named after, you guessed it, Mac Miller. He's my big fat ginger. And then I have Xena, who's named after Xena, the warrior princess. They're pretty chill. I mean, they don't do anything bad. It's funny to watch them wrestle because Xena is known to put Mac in chokeholds, which is funny to see. But yeah, definitely the moves they put on themselves when they wrestle, I would say that's worth seeing.
What are some things you like to do with your friends?
What do I like to do with my friends? You know, just the typical hood rat stuff. Little smoky, drive around, music, video games. I'm a pretty basic dude, honestly.
And this may be a little bit of a sensitive subject, but I was wondering if you could talk a little bit about your friend your best friend who was also sick, who ended up passing away. And I was wondering if you feel comfortable, if you could tell us a little bit about him and maybe your guys' friendship or memories.
Yes, Jim. My best friend of many years. He also had health issues. He had kidney problems, which he ended up also having a kidney transplant, which he got a kidney from his mother. He actually ended up passing away some years ago. I don't want to speak on him too much just because I'm friends with his family and friends on social media, so just out of respect. I don't want to say too much, but yeah, that was my buddy Jim.
So now we have fan questions, and as always, you can always say no comment to any questions that you don't feel comfortable answering, but I do read them all. Some of them are anonymous and some would like to be credited. So we'll start with an anonymous one. How do you feel about your liver transplant now, and what do you think will happen? Is there anything you can advise for someone else who has the same condition?
I'm just glad it's done and over with, so it doesn't consume my mind anymore. Man, I thought about that transplant and being sick constantly. So one takeaway from everything is just the fact that I can just relax and live my life and not deal with the issues that I was dealing with for so long. As far as what I think will happen, I mean, as long as I do everything needed, I take my meds, my anti-rejection meds, do my regular blood work, doctor's appointments, all that jazz. I mean, I'll thrive. I mean, everything will be fine. As far as people that are going through something similar or just issues in general, whether it's mental or physical, it's not going to be that way forever. There will eventually be a change. You just have to think positive and stick with that thought and don't let it consume you, and one day what's supposed to happen will happen.
And now we have a question from Little Fierce Savage. Hearing about your story was beautiful, but I can't help but wonder how this affected your relationship with your sister, knowing she was willing to do this for you. Did it affect your perspective of her as family?
Oh, absolutely. Doing something as extreme as donating an organ to somebody, regardless of it being a family member, is about the most selfless act you could do. I mean, it takes a lot of strength to be able to decide that you're gonna give up part of you to help somebody else. So definitely, I definitely have a different perspective, definitely.
How exactly is this affecting your lifestyle? Did you have to make any changes temporarily or permanently?
It hasn't affected it too much. There's certain things I can't eat now. It's really random, like nuts have to be toasted, no sushi, deli meat has to be heated up. It's really random stuff. Nothing that really interferes with my life. There's some other weird things, like I can't pet like iguanas or bearded dragons because, you know, I'm constantly petting bearded dragons, but it's just random stuff like that. But yeah, nothing that really gets in the way of anything. I can live my life for the most part.
It's great to see you up and being able to talk here right now, to be honest. Have you been able to get back to sports or all your normal activities yet, or do you still need more time for recovery? Also, Lil Fierce Savage. I know the process requires a lot of time off work and a lot of rest. So how have you been coping financially? Because there are still bills to be paid. So did you save up for a situation like this, or did it hit unexpectedly, or did someone come through for you financially? Glad you're back on your feet to enjoy the wonders of life and keep your family close, because I know most wouldn't come through at their convenience.
I'm not fully recovered yet. I would say I'm probably like 75 to 80% better. So there's still, I guess there's some slight limitations. I can't really lift too much yet. My torso is still pretty numb from the incision, so I can't really, it's really a weight issue. I can't lift too much stuff right now. I get tired kind of easy. Walking a lot, I'll get out of breath. So I still have a little bit of a journey until I'm back to, I would say, close to 100%, maybe within like a year or so. I go back to work on Monday, actually, so after 2.5 months, that'll be nice. That'll be a big change. I haven't really had any issues financially, just because, I mean, I'll just say my job treats you good. It treats me good, I should say. So yeah, that's not much of an issue, but before too long, I'll be 100%.
This one's from Michael. Who inspired you?
If they're talking about who inspired me on a medical aspect of it, I would say anybody that has battled health issues, whether it's cancer, bad diseases, all types of sicknesses, and came out on the other end as a winner. Anybody like that is somebody that you could really learn a lot from.
Anonymous. What's your sign?
I am a Libra, so where's all my compatible people?
Cecilia. What was the most difficult part of this process for you? How many hours total was the surgery?
The surgery was a little over 12 hours. The hardest part, I would say, is the mental game of it all. Keep in mind, when I woke up from my surgery up till about 2 weeks later, I was pretty much paralyzed, as far as I couldn't move my legs on my own, and I was relying on nurses and doctors just to get me in and out of bed. So when you're experiencing that and that's going on, it's really hard to stay focused and realize that there's going to be light at the end of the tunnel, and you're going to make it through it, even though it doesn't feel like it.
Do you ever plan to reopen your clothing line? Why or why not?
Negative on the clothing line. I just kind of lost the passion for it. It was a one-man show, and it just got to be too much, so I kind of retired it. It was fun while it lasted. The 4 years, but can't do it anymore.
What are some of your goals, plans, now that you have your new liver drip?
As far as future plans, kind of like I said in a previous question, just focused on healing and continuing this new chapter in my life.